Do you want to make a deadly awesome thumbnail but you don't know where to start? All you need is Photoshop and access to a site called Creative Fabrica, and I'll walk you through the steps to make the most awesome thumbnail. If you go to Creative Fabrica on your browser, you can actually download anything, but there is a fee if you download it. If you're a subscriber, you don't have to pay a fee. It's $3.99 a month. You pay it yearly. It's very well worth the price, and I'll have the link to it in the description below. So I'm just going to type in the search bar here, YouTube thumbnail. Let's see what we get. This is the one I chose. I'm just going to click on that. Because I'm subscribed, I can get it without having to pay for it. So I just click on download. And when it downloads, it'll pop open. There's in a zip file, so you just double click it. So there's two files there. There's a JPEG file and a PSD file. If you have Photoshop, you can open up the PSD file and it'll pop open for you in Photoshop. So this is the base thumbnail that you downloaded from Creative Fabrica. If you go into Window, scroll down the list here, you'll find a section called Layers. You can also access that by hitting F7. So if you click on Layers, you're going to get your Layers palette come up here. It shows that this is divided into 4 different sections. The first section is your image section. That's the silhouette of the person here, and I guess it would be you on your thumbnail. So you can disable the visibility on that if you don't want to use an image. The next thing you got here is your text, which obviously is the text. So this is the text section. You also got your design. And the design is anything that's on this black layer background here. So if you disable the visibility here, you just got a black background. Sometimes that might be good and might suit what you need to do as well. First thing we're going to do is edit this text to match your niche. So when I expand this layer, it shows me each word in the text. And on the little T icon here, you got a yield sign, a little alert sign. And what that means is that you don't have that font in your system. So that could be a problem. So if you start and try to edit one of these words here, this is what's going to happen. You're going to get a little pop-up here. It says these fonts are missing in the text layer. Good brush font. So what I normally do if I don't have the font is I just merely off to Google and Google the name of the font, and hopefully I can replace the font. So let's see, let's go into Google, and that was Good Brush font. So I'm going to just type that in here now. So if you scroll down onto font.com, they have Good Brush font. So that's the one you want. So you just click on here. Over here you see where it says download, just click that. That starts to download up in the corner now. When it pops open, double click it. So we want the true type font. Open type and true type. I'm not really sure what the difference is. I always go with true type wherever I can. So I'm just going to double click on that. And it's going to open up the little font box here. There's an install button up at the top left hand corner. Just click on that. And now your font is installed. So you can click edit this. And you can go back to your Photoshop. And now if you hit cancel, these little icons disappear. So now you're able to update this text with whatever you want. So let's see. Awesome. Awesome game moves. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what your niche might be. Let's see. Awesome. Awesome gaming sites, let's say, if that's your niche. So now that text will update with the same formatting and layer styles as is in there. If you want to change the color of one of these words, all of these words each have the layer style applied to it. So if we want to change the color of gaming, there's a little drop down here. It says FX. That means that there's effects applied to the word. So you drop down the list. This has a gradient overlay. So you see that as a dark down here and it gets brighter as you go up. So let's change that to a bright yellow. So if you double click on gradient overlay and you click in the gradient box, we can change this red to say yellow or there. So it's pretty easy to change the colors on this. So now that we're all done editing the text, we're going to close up that text drop down. Just click the little arrow pointing down. Next thing we're going to do is go into image. So when you drop down the list for image, you get what you call a smart object. So in order to access this smart object, you put your mouse on the thumbnail and you double click it. And that opens up exactly what you're seeing in your thumbnail file. So if you want to put a picture of yourself in here, you need to get a picture and you need to cut out the background. So I have a picture of my ugly mug. I've started to cut it out. I'm just going to get rid of that and show you how I do it. So to cut myself out of this picture, I'm going to grab my curvature pen tool. So normally it would show up like this with just a pen tool, but I like the curvature pen tool. So you right click on this and just choose curvature pen tool. So you start here in a corner somewhere and you just let's zoom this in so we can see better. I'll just hit the Alt key, roll my mouse wheel on my mouse away from me, and it zooms it in a little bit. Okay. So just click on the last point that I had there. And I'll just gradually go around the area that I want to cut out. So I got a little bit of hair stuck off there, but we're not going to be too particular with this right now. As long as you get along your hairline, it should be good. So with the curvature pen tool, it automatically adds the curves in there, unless you want a corner, in which case you double click the point and it'll give you a corner, as in right here. So if I double click here, it leaves a sharp corner. So when you get outside the area that you're tracing out, just do it on the outside. So if I put a corner on this point here and come down here and double click and put another corner, it'll give me a straight line. Same over here, double click, and then I'll connect it up right here, double click. Okay, so now I have the selection. I'm just going to right click on one of these points here. Which point? Okay, so if I right click here, click make selection, and a pop-up box will pop up there. I'm working off 2 monitors and that came up on my other monitor. A feather radius of 1 is good. You can do 0, but then you got a really hard line. Let's try a 2. Say OK. So that gives us a selection. So if I go back into my layers here and I hit Control Shift C. Oops. Before I hit Control Shift C, I need to change this background layer to a regular layer. So I take the lock off here and it's no longer a background layer. So now I hit Control Shift C. And then I hit Control V, turn the visibility off on the bottom layer, and you can see I got my face, my head shape cut out. So if I right click in this thumbnail here and say select pixels, I can say Control Shift C, then I can go back to my thumbnail, oops, back to my smart object I should say, and hit Control V. So that's very, very big. So you hit Control T, now you can scale it down. So just grab by the corner and drag it down until you get it to the size that you want. Still a little big. Just drag it up again. So now we got that done. We still have this guy behind us here, so we want to get rid of him. So I'm just going to click his visibility off. Alternatively, I can just click that layer and hit delete and get rid of it. So now I'm going to hit Control S to save this. And when I do so, that smart object is replaced by my face. So I'm going to drag that over here. Now you got a bit of a sharp corner here. So what I might want to do is make that a little bit, oops, make it a little bit bigger. And then I can just grab these words one at a time and drag them over a bit. Now you see that they're showing up behind me. If I wanted to, let's see, my layer palette is very small. I'm just going to drag it down so I can see. So if I wanted this image behind the letters, I just drag that group of layers down underneath the group of text layers. So now the text is showing up over top of that. So if I select this one, I can drag this down, select this, and drag this down as well. If you want them all to line up exactly in a straight line, you can go to your ruler on your left hand side and drag a guide over, and that way you can grab each text layer and make sure it aligns perfectly to the right. So now the sharp corner on my picture is not as obvious. So now you have a thumbnail. So I'm just going to clear out this guide, view, clear guides. So you can see how easy it is to grab a template for a thumbnail and modify it to what you like. Very easy. I love sharing little tips and tricks. If you'd like to subscribe to this channel, please do so. And I'll be making lots of content to help you grow your channel and help myself grow my channel as well. As I'm learning something new, I'll be sure to put it up there for you. Thank you for watching.